Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ya, selamat siang semuanya. Terima kasih sudah kembali ke tempat yang luar biasa ini. Dan kita akan lanjutkan sesi berikutnya setelah siang dan masih dengan para narasumber yang luar biasa. Ya, saya akan sebutkan yang pertama adalah Dr. Terayut Moleng. Ya, he is Deputy Dean of Faculty of Management Science, ialah Raja Bat University Thailand. Sudah hadir juga bersama kita dan satu orang lagi itu berhalangan hadir karena tadi pagi sudah disampaikan akan lewat Zoom ya pada siang hari ini. Beliau adalah Dr. Syahid Kimanalundong dari King Faisal Center for Islamic, Arabic and Asian Studies, Mindanao State University, Philippines. And we invite and please welcome Dr. Terayut Moleng join with us in here. Kita berikan aplaus buat Dr. Terayut Moleng. Dan berikutnya adalah Bapak atau Mas Greget Kalabuana ya. Masih muda, prestasinya banyak. Beliau punya pengalaman yang luar biasa, terutama bekerja di bidang Islamic Finance Specialist (UNDP) di program Innovative Financing Lab dan juga menghabiskan banyak waktunya di pekerjaan profesional di bidang Islamic Finance sejak tahun 2009 dan bekerja juga di National International Ecosystem dan juga masih di bidang dan program yang sama, Finance and juga Funding in Philanthropies, Humanitarian and Development Contact Proposition Specialist untuk anak-anak muda di bidang keuangan Islam. Dan juga memiliki banyak sekali pengalaman dan kontribusi di bidang insurance, investasi dan juga melakukan distribusi informasi melalui platform media sosial. Beliau adalah lulusan terbaik UNS tahun 2013 dari program Fakultas di Ekonomi dan Bisnis dan juga menamatkan masternya di Islamic Finance and Management from Durham University Business School di United Kingdom. Dipersilakan untuk juga bergabung bersama kita. Kita berikan aplaus buat Pak Greget Kalabuana. Baik, untuk yang pertama kali kita persilakan narasumber kita yang pertama yaitu Dr. Terayut Moleng yang akan menyampaikan materinya tentang Thailand and Sustainability Development Goals Agenda, Challenge and Prospect. Kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah buat Dr. Terayut Moleng. Panitia bisa bantu sebentar?
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Thirayut Muleng. I am currently a faculty member at Yala Rajapat University, which has a core mission of strengthening local community, especially in Thailand's three southernmost provinces. For my education background, I hold bachelor degree in biotechnology, a master degree in business administration, and master degree in philosophy degree in logistics and supply chain management board. My interest is building sustainability in supply chain, especially in managing demand, supply balancing of product and material, of production management or operation management. Yala Rajapat, can I introduce my workplace? Yala Rajapat University is an institution dedicated to local development, particularly in the three southern border provinces of Thailand, that is Yala, Pattani, and Narathiwat. This area holds both economic potential, cultural, and biodiversity. Our faculty focus on promoting community, enterprise, and SME, small and medium entrepreneurships by encouraging efficient and sustainable use of local resources, creating economic opportunity, and enhancing community resilience as a business management aspect. We mainly adhere to sufficiency economy philosophy to ensure that development is both sustainable and beneficial to all. Have you overheard about sufficiency economy philosophy? Have you ever heard this word? No? No? Okay. Then we will know today. Today, the topic that I'm gonna speak is Thailand SDG Agenda, Challenge and Prospect. Let's see the important progress of SDG in Thailand. Nowadays, in Thailand, we drive the SDG goal number 1 is no poverty. Successfully, Thailand can reduce the number of people living below poverty line in 2023. And Thailand also ranked to 43rd out of 166 countries. Key initiatives driving this outcome include community enterprise development and the sufficient economy philosophy that I told you before, which empower communities to be self-sufficient and reduce inequality at the local level. In Thailand, as the area that our faculty responsibility, we contribute to several SDG, particularly SDG number 1 is no poverty by supporting community enterprise development to increase income and build stability in community. For the goal of SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth, we drove business skill developed for SME in the region. And the last one that we drive, the SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production by encouraging environmental friendly production and efficient use of local resource in line with the sufficient economic philosophy. So we will address for the SDG one by one that I told you. We have 3 SDG that we drive with my faculty as our responsibility. In driving SDG number 1, we encounter challenges such as economic equality in local areas, a lack of financial and resource support, and limit infrastructure for the entrepreneurship. However, there are promising prospects as well, such as the development of community enterprise and the adoption of sufficient economic philosophy which support communities in becoming a self-reliant. For the SDG number 8 that I told you before, decent work and economic growth, we face challenges such as a lack of business skill in the community, limited access of funding, and lack of the technology. Nevertheless, there are significant prospects in supporting SMEs and offering business training, as well as integrating technology into production to improve efficiency and sustainability. For the last one, addressing the SDG number 12, responsible consumption and production. There are challenges like limited knowledge in resource management, waste management issue, and a lack of motivation for sustainable production practice. However, there are a clear prospect as well, such as waste management, training and applying the sufficient economic philosophy to achieve sustainable production and reduce environment impact. Sorry, I forget to change the PowerPoint. Okay. And this slide, as I mentioned, we mostly drive those SDG number 1, 8, and 12 that I told you that we drive from the sufficient economy philosophy that I asked you that you know this word before. After this, I will call this word with the abbreviate of SEP, okay? Sufficiently economic philosophy. So in this slide, I would like to explain the original and principle of sufficient economy philosophy or SEP, a key concept developed by King Rama IX in Thailand. This philosophy encouraged Thai to live with moderation and self-reliance to promote sustainability at all levels. SEP consists of 3 key principles. For the first one, moderation. It means that using resources and living within one means. For the second one, reasonableness. It means that making decisions that consider potential impacts. And the third one, resilience. It means that preparing for facing change and uncertainty in the environment, in the market, in the business environment. These principles are also supported by knowledge and ethics to ensure sustainable outcome at the individual, community, and national level. Okay. For the next slide, I will explain how the sufficient economy philosophy or SEP support of those 3 SDGs. For the number 1, SDG 1, no poverty. SEP encourages communities to use resources, moderately generate adequate income, and reduce reliance on external resources, fostering resilience against economic challenge. For the SDG number 8, decent work and economic growth. Moderation ensures sustainable growth without excessive profit seeking, while reasonableness supports business planning that consider social and environmental impact. and resilience prepared business for crisis. And finally, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. Moderation promotes efficient use of resources and waste reduction, reasonableness, and resilience prepares producers and consumers for change in resource availability and environment condition. For the next slide, I will tell you about my experience about to do a research project. I have do a research project that can drive 3 SDG aspects. I developed the production planning system for salted fish in the area near the sea, near the beach, in Pattani. That's one of province in southern border, developed by a research team in my faculty from Yala Rajpat University. This project focused on improving production system by forecasting fish supply from fishermen. We focus to collect the data from fishermen can catch the fish. In Thailand, we call that fish that kulau fish. I collect the data and try to forecast in the future that how many fish can the fishermen can catch, and I try to collect the data from the entrepreneurship that produce the salt fish. That how many sales of salt fish in each time. So for the both data, I try to matching and balance which quantity will equilibrium, and if some timeline is not equilibrium, what should they have to planning about the production. So however, we try to reduce the waste from the wastewater that from the process to clean the fish and reproduce to the gas for use in the household in that area. And we finding the solution that would increase utilization production process with more productivity in some time that fish is oversupplying. The project support SDG number 1, no poverty. We can increase income and reduce inequality in the community by trying to add value in the raw fish to be sold fish as much as possible. That sometime, that some season, this fish is low price. Do you know high demand, high price? And if low demand, low price, like that. Some season the fish will decrease the price. Some season the fish will increase the price. So we try to add value from that fish every year along the year. For SDG 8, decent work and economic growth by developing skill the production planning. Before we come to do the research with the entrepreneurship, they don't know about the production planning. They don't know about the forecasting. They ask me that why they have to collect the data, why they have to forecast. After we training them and teach them about the production planning, they understand that why it's important. Even we try to teach the accounting for entrepreneurship to record, simple record, and do simple financial report. for own financial management, they can decide from the profit, from the loss of each month that they can sell the fish. For the last one, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production by promoting efficient resource use, waste reduction from the wastewater, and production that align with the sufficient economic philosophy that I told before. One more that I need to share about the research project that can drive the SDG of those three that I mentioned before. This research is developing the tourism supply chain in Betong district. Have you ever been Betong in Yala? Who ever been? Betong? No. you should try. Betong in Yala is very beautiful place. That place don't have a sea, don't have an ocean. They have only mountain and mountain. A lot of forest. You can hiking at that place. Betong in Yala is a famous traveling place in the world because the clean atmosphere. In my team research try to develop tourism supply chain for entrepreneurs in this area to achieve the net zero carbon tourism. Net zero carbon tourism is the trend of the world now about the environment. So if we produce, if we service anything in the world, we normally release the carbon, you know, carbon. You drive a car, you release carbon. You drive a motorcycle, you release carbon. And the carbon is the cause of hot earth. Okay. This project emphasizes sustainable resource use, the carbon reduction by promoting renewable energy and reducing material consumption, aligning with circular and green economic principle. We use the concept of BCG, bio, circular, and green concept. Each entrepreneur, they will release the waste, such as the restaurant. Restaurant will have a waste from the left food that the customer cannot eat all. So this food can reduce to fertilize, and some restaurant release the wastewater, and they use the wastewater for produce the gas biogas that is called methane for cooking in the household or his restaurant. Some entrepreneur we analyze the energy consumption, electric energy consumption, and try to invest about the solar cell, solar roof for them. That so try to reduce the carbon footprint to release the earth. Okay. And some entrepreneurs, we try to reduce material consumption, aligning with circular and green economic principle. The project support multiple that relate to SDG number 1 by creating local job, and SDG number 8 by promoting employment and the local economic through capacity building among local entrepreneurs, and SDG 12 by supporting sustainable consumption and production. This project enhance resource management and environmental sustainability, benefit both the community and the environment in the long term. For the summary, Thailand Southern Province promoting community self-reliance and long-term economic sustainability. New key challenge of us nowadays is accessing SROI. It's a new word of my faculty and my university that we have to calculate, that we have calculate. SROI is abbreviated from the full name is Social Responsibility of Investment. It's like a ROI. Many students study about the financial, you know, return on investment, right? Right? In this room, there are financial students. Yes. Have you ever heard SROI, Social Responsibility on Investment? Have you ever heard that? Yes. Okay. Okay. This is a new term of my university that try to measure and calculate that the project investment can make a benefit and return to the social in the cash in a ratio that we can measure. Okay. Yes, ROI. Such as community resilience and quality of life that we can measure directly. However, SROI assessment require extensive data and community participation, making term resource intensive and complex. Despite these challenges, we are dedicated to enhance our capacity in this area to further support those 3 SDGs as mentioned. However, we can, our faculty cannot drive all the goal, the all goal of SDG. I try to describe you about the something that my faculty can drive the SDG, which one and how today. That's all that I need to share with you about the SDG in Thailand, especially in south of Thailand, that my hometown and my workplace, that the Yala Ratchapat University. Thank you for interesting.
Ya, sekali lagi kita berikan aplaus buat untuk Dr. Terayut Moleng. Cek. Cek. Baik, tadi ada beberapa catatan ya. He is talking about improving production planning, especially about sustainability seafood enterprise in Thailand, and part of responsibility for SDGs number 1, X and 12 ya, about the moderation, responsibility dan juga resilient. Tentu banyak pertanyaan yang mungkin bisa kita ajukan kepada beliau, tapi kita akan dengarkan juga presentasi kedua dari pemateri berikutnya, Bapak Greget Galabuana, yang akan menyampaikan tentang capaian SDGs yang kedua, tentang Achieving Sustainability Development Goals and the Role of the Islamic Economic, Finance and Public Policy. Kita berikan aplaus dan sambutan hangat buat Pak Greget Galabuana.
Thank you very much, Pak Hendra. It's really nice to be back here again in Banda Aceh. This is actually my second time visiting this beautiful province, and I'm excited for tomorrow exploring Sabah, inshallah. And allow me to start with a pantun that I prepared this morning. And everyone please help me with the cakep. Pagi tadi sarapan sayur sop. Thank you. Berangkat dari Jogja sampai Aceh. Senang sekali ikutan Eco Shop. mahasiswa UIN Ar-Raniry memang kece. Thank you, thank you. So, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat siang, selamat sore, good afternoon, Bapak, Ibu, colleagues, students, and also the prominent speaker or professor from Thailand, from the Philippines, and also from Malaysia in the previous session. It's really a privilege and pleasure, also a pressure from me to share the same stage with everyone here. But on behalf of the Islamic University of Indonesia, or Universitas Islam Indonesia, I'd like to appreciate UIN Ar-Raniry for having me all the way from Yogyakarta to share some experience, practicality about how Islamic finance can be profoundly attuned to support the achievement of SDG, especially in Indonesia. And I really like and really excited to speak about Islamic finance because this topic is actually something that I've been very much exposed and engaged with for the last 7 years. As mentioned by Pak Hendra, I used to work with United Nations Development Program, or UNDP, as Islamic finance specialist, as well as the technical analyst for innovative and sustainable finance. Oh, sorry, I have also my slide. Oh, it's on PDF, so please help me, maybe the operator. Yeah, the second slide. So let me briefly set the context of SDGs. I remember that this morning, one of the participants asking about the decrease of the score of Indonesia, especially on the SDGs, and congratulations to colleagues from Thailand for making the highest score among Asian member countries. But if we would like to refer on the UN Economic and Social Commission for the Asia and the Pacific, we can see that achieving all the 17 goals of SDGs is projected to be delayed until 2062. So we require an additional 32 years from the initial deadline, which is 2030, or roughly 40 years from now. But there is some good news from Indonesian context, as we see also from the UN Global Sustainable Development Report. One of the highlights is that Indonesia's score is climbing significantly from 5 years ago. In 2019, we are in the position of 102nd. But currently this year, we are in the position of 78, still behind Thailand. We know that we are keeping progressing, and on the HDI, Human Development Index, we are in the position of 112, which also being very progressive, which cover all the elements of mostly human side of the SDGs. Next slide. Also, as part of the fastest growing market in the world, Indonesia is also projected to be in the top 5 of the largest economies following China, the United States, and also India in 2050. But unfortunately, all these countries, including all the top 5 largest economies, are being the top 10 largest carbon emitter in the world, while Indonesia in 2060 is aiming high to be a net zero economy. So the reason why I also put this kind of issue about the climate change, because when we talk about Islamic finance and climate finance, these two sub-disciplines of innovative and sustainable finance are very related when it comes to discussing about the contribution to SDGs and also the climate change adaptation and mitigation, roughly climate action. Next slide, please. And when we discuss about the SDGs and how we can contribute to the SDGs, the discussion is going around the issue of financing gap. Last year in 2023, the Ministry of National Development Planning, or Bappenas, has just revised the figure of financing gap that Indonesia requires to support the achievement of SDGs 6 years from now. So we need additional 1.7 trillion USD. I think it equals 24,000 trillion in rupiah, in addition to 322 billion in USD to support the climate action. So next slide, please. So that is the reason why everyone at so many levels, be it global, regional, national, local, or even individual, is trying to search for an alternative solution. And one of the most widely discussed potential is by leveraging Islamic finance. The question is then why we should be engaging with Islamic finance. That's actually the reason, and why when I was in the UN, people always ask me about why Islamic finance is in the UN and why the UN engage with Islamic finance. We know from the slide that the asset of Islamic finance is projected to be exceeding 6.7 3 years from now. And then we know that Islamic finance is one of the most rapid industry in the world with 10 to 12% annual growth. And also when it comes about Islamic finance, we know that it embodies and embed the social responsibility and sustainable development values as mentioned previously by colleague and a gentleman from the Thailand. It's about SROI, or social responsibility of investment. And also when we engaging in Islamic finance or Islamic inspired institution, we basically promoting the value of tolerance, inclusivity, universality, diversity, and so on. But the most importantly, I remember when I was in Durham University, we always talking and discussing about the ontological justification when we engage with Islamic finance. So the fundamental reasons why Islamic finance is really fit into SDGs is because of the striking commonalities between SDGs and the 5 foundational goals of Islam, or Maqasid Syari'ah. You can see a lot of research or body of knowledge discussing earlier during the adoption of SDGs in 2016, 2017, like BASNAS, in Islamic Development Bank Institute also published research that showcase the commonalities between SDGs and Islamic finance through Maqasid al-Syari'ah. And when it comes to the context of Indonesia, few years ago, we see that Islamic finance also becoming one of the most prominent strategy and priority from the government of Indonesia. And we're really proud to be the world's largest generous country in the world for the 7 consecutive years since 2017. So what I'm saying is basically the potential of Islamic finance in supporting the SDG, seeing from the demand and supply side, the Muslim population. Even though that we're no longer becoming the largest Muslim population as Pakistan has been taking over since this year, but still the demand of the Islamic finance through the Muslim and non-Muslim population and community is still very, very high, because Islamic finance or Islam is not just for Muslim, right? Islam as rahmatan lil alamin, alamin means that it's including Muslim, non-Muslim, environment, and every element in the universe. And the government of Indonesia has really, smartly responding to this demand by supporting with institutionalization and providing a set of regulatory framework to set up Islamic finance ecosystem in the country. Next slide. So going back to the discussion how to close the financing gap, the first one that I would like to suggest is to create a conducive ecosystem to support the SDGs financing, as I mentioned earlier. And the second one is basically to share platform for a dialogue with non-state actors. Non-state actors means non-state actors mean private sector, NGO, academia, community, religious institution, and so on and so forth. And the Ministry of National Development Planning, or BAPNAS, has already established National Secretariat for SDGs, and one of its special arm is focusing on how to leverage innovative finance, including SDGs, by establishing SDGs Financing Hub, the number 3, the need for innovative financing instrument and scheme. So during the G20 presidency, Indonesia G20 presidency 2 years ago, the government of Indonesia also launched integrated national financing framework as a guideline for every element in the community in the country to support the SDGs by aligning the investment into SDGs. But especially for the Islamic finance, there are 3 particular approach that we can do. The first one is by harnessing. Harnessing means we directly leveraging the Islamic finance instrument to support SDGs related project, which I will be explaining about the example later on. And the second one is about the catalyzing, to align the values of Islamic finance and the values of SDGs from the stakeholders, or the other way around. And the third one is basically what we're currently doing. We convene. We're trying to create a new narrative for Islamic finance and SDGs, share the knowledge, and then build capacity among others between academia and then also NGO, philanthropists, and so on. Next slide. Let's move on to the first example of Islamic finance for SDGs initiative. The first one is concessional fund. I believe that everyone are familiar with the popular figure of potential of zakat and wakaf in Indonesia by calculating simple minimalistic estimate only for middle-class Muslim. Among 87% of the total population of Indonesia, we got 12 billion and 16 billion for wakaf and zakat potential in USD respectively. But then when it comes to the actual collection, the collection never reached more than 10 to 12% in every year. So the issue is not just because of the low literacy or awareness that everyone has pointing out, or about the lack of public trust due to the mismanagement or misconduct by the zakat organization, or about how to expand access and effectiveness of the institution. But please look into what Professor Amartya Sen from Oxford saying in his book Famine and Poverty. So basically the root cause of poverty is about inequality, unequal access. So the role of zakat is supposed to be unlocking, the bottleneck of inequality or unequal access. So that's why we have a new narrative of transforming or shifting the paradigm from disbursing zakat through consumptive model to productive model, which was exemplified by the collaboration between Bank Jambi in Jambi, Basnas, and also UNDP since 2017 to 2023 by collaborating, by putting together zakat fund, CSR, and vertical fund from donor to support the implementation on to build 5 micro hydro installation in 5 rural villages in Jambi, benefiting more than 4,000 people or beneficiaries in those villages. So what I would like to understand is not just because of this Islamic finance touching upon the renewable energy, energy efficiency, energy saving, and we also calculate the number of the carbon emission reduced through this collaboration on concessional fund. But there is also a continuation and follow-up action after they finally, getting weather access to electricity. They are being supported, to empower themselves through sustainable agriculture, ecotourism, women and youth empowerment in creative economy. Also, they finally can afford quality education and quality healthcare and so on and so forth, including disaster preparedness. So that's basically the idea of paradigm shift from zakat, from consumptive model to productive model. Next slide. The second example is blended financing. This is really interesting because the blended financing concept has been mistakenly understood by many people for being, just putting so many resources together. But the real blended financing, in this case, I would like to take an example from wakaf, is by putting 2 kinds of streams. The first stream is coming from private investment with the repayment mechanism and so on. And the other one is putting, philanthropy or public finance together. So when it comes to default, the first one that will be released is actually from the philanthropy side. That is called the risking in finance. So basically, we're preparing the first loss capital by using social fund like philanthropy, sedekah, zakat, and so on. And the one that interesting is that all the way of this mechanism are very Sharia compliant. We can use zakat, we can use sedekah and infak in the first stream from the public and philanthropy fund. And then the second one, we can use wakaf as revolving fund, part of the investment using musyarakah contract. And this is actually still an idea that I think UNDP already piloted in some area in Sumatra. So the idea of having and implementing this Islamic blended finance is to support the climate resilient, not only for male smallholder farmers, but also promoting gender equality by involving female farmers so that they can adapt to the climate change, becoming climate resilient. Next slide. There are only 2 more slides. So this is the 3rd slide. I believe that everyone already, familiar with Islamic finance, but as I mentioned earlier, that there is also connection between Islamic finance and climate finance. So climate finance is equally important because at the end of the day, all the financing resources are needed to reduce the carbon emission and to support the adaptation measure for the community to be able to adapt with all adverse impact of the climate. As we can see here, not just because Indonesia and I think Asian countries is located around the ring of fire in the Pacific that make us very prone and vulnerable to natural disaster, but because of the climate change alone, that the risk of hydrometeorological natural disaster happen in Indonesia 80%. Also in more than 20 provinces in Indonesia, across Indonesia, experiencing drought, including the big flood in Jakarta, making some people displaced. So to be able, to address all these adverse impacts, we need to think again paradigm shift, in applying an investment which not only focusing on the financial return, but also environmental and social impact by having this impact investing. And I'm pretty sure that everyone here mostly are familiar with the Green Suku issued by the government. I remember a very funny story. When 2018, I shared, the information that the government of Indonesia already issued the first ever sovereign Green Suku in the world. But then my colleagues from Malaysia trying to claim that Malaysia is the first one. Still, Malaysia is the first one, but it's corporate Green Suku. But Indonesia is sovereign Green Suku. So the story is not started by the issuing the Green Suku, but actually started from 2014, so 4 years before the issuance, by the implementation on climate budget taking. So climate budget taking is a tool to identify, to track the government expenditure on climate action and mitigation, which fits to the climate action. By having this CBT at national level currently being developed to be auto-tagging mechanism and also will be applied at sub-national level in provincial or municipality. Since 2018, the government of Indonesia has successfully raised 7.2 billion. With the 7.2 billion, the number of emission reduced projected is 10.5 million tons carbon emission through so many eligible projects. The difference between Green Suku and Suku, I think I need to underline this, is that the Green Suku, the proceed is really intended to support, to finance only 9 eligible green projects. The examples are almost 700 double-track railways, 7.3 million kilowatt power plant, and also 7 million households already manage their waste properly and sustainably. Let's take this example of sustainable transport in Java. The government revitalized and upgrade the single railway to double-track railway connecting Cirebon to Jombang in Java Island, also some other area outside Java like Sumatra, Kalimantan, Sulawesi. And from this upgrading from single to double-track, 1.5 million ton carbon emission is expected to be reduced. And there is also behavioral changing that makes people, switching from riding their vehicle, switching into public mass or public transportation, because there is also reducing travel time by 30 minutes faster. And the last one, please. So this is the new one that I think that can be an idea when you are, preparing your bachelor dissertation: sustainability-linked financing through fintech. So the idea of having sustainability-linked financing is actually to provide borrowers with a set of financing mechanisms by supporting them to achieve ESG performance, environmental, social, and governance performance, by tying this performance into pricing mechanism. But before going deeper on the scheme, let's try to understand the context of sustainability-linked finance. So SL finance or sustainability-linked finance is actually the umbrella of sustainability-linked loan with conventional manner. And then we have with Sharia compliant version, sustainability-linked financing, sustainability-linked suku, and sustainability-linked bond with conventional approach. So there will be step up and step down. Jadi bunganya atau nisbah bagi hasilnya naik turun. So there will be step up and step down. In this case, when we apply with the musyarakah contract, there will be adjusted nibah as long as the sustainability performance targets are achieved. While using the murabaha, there will be a bonus of grant according to the margin of fee-based mechanism. And there is one more potential discussing around among zakat organization that we can also leverage the contract of Qard and Qard Hasan by utilizing zakat, infak, and sedekah instrument for the sustainability linked financing. So I think I can stop here, Pak Hendra. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ya, sekali lagi berikan tepuk tangan buat Mr. Greget Kalabuana ya. And now the third presenter is Dr. Syahid Ki Manalundong from King Faisal Center for Islamic, Arabic and Asian Studies, Mindanao State University, Philippines. And he will deliver from recording presentation with the title presenting about the achieving sustainability development goals and the role of Islamic economic, finance and public policy.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would like to take Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would like to take this opportunity to express my gratitude and thanks to the organizing committee for inviting me as one of the speakers at the third International Conference on Sharia-Oriented Public Policy in the Islamic Economic System 2024, held at UN Ar-Raniry, Banda Aceh, Aceh Province, Indonesia. I would also like to extend my appreciation to the Dean of the Faculty of Islamic Economics and Business at Universitas Islam Negeri Ar-Raniry, Banda Aceh, Professor Dr. Hafaz Furqani, who has been very accommodating and friendly. I hope to meet him in person, inshallah. Thank you for your generosity. I am Dr. Syahid Ki Manalundong, a lecturer from Mindanao State University, Philippines, and I will be presenting my topic, the role of Islamic economics, finance, and public policy in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, BARM, exploring the intersection of Islamic principles and sustainable development. The struggle of Muslims to gain autonomy and recognition in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, BARM, can be traced back to the Spanish conquest of the Philippines in the 16th century. The Spanish colonization began in 1565, and the resistance from Muslim groups, particularly in Mindanao, continued for several centuries. The formal establishment of BARM occurred in 2019, following decades of conflict and negotiations. If we consider the start of the Spanish conquest in 1565 to the establishment of BARM in 2019, Muslims have struggled for over 450 years to gain autonomy and recognition in this region. This struggle has involved various forms of resistance, including armed conflict, political negotiations, and peace agreements, reflecting a complex history of cultural and religious identity in the Philippines. The BARM, a newly established autonomous region in the Philippines, facing challenges like poverty, inequality, and environmental degradation. The SDGs, a global framework for sustainable development adopted by the United Nations in 2015, Islamic principles, a potential tool for achieving the SDGs in BARM, given its unique socio-cultural context and predominantly Muslim population. Islamic economics governed by Sharia principles emphasizes social justice, equitable distribution of wealth, and ethical economic practices. These principles can be harnessed in BARM to drive sustainable development. One of the legacy of Omar bin Abdul Aziz is the zakat distribution. He reformed the tax system to ensure the proper collection and equitable distribution of zakat under his leadership. Wealth was redistributed so effectively that in some regions there were no eligible recipients for charity. Though his reign lasted only 2.5 years, Omar bin Abdul Aziz left an enduring legacy. He is remembered as an exemplary ruler who upheld Islamic principles of governance based on justice, fairness, and welfare for all citizens. His policies prefigured and modern concepts of sustainable development, social equity, and good governance. In summary, Omar bin Abdul Aziz leadership offers valuable lessons for modern public policy, particularly in fostering ethical governance, economic justice, and environmental stewardship. Principles that align closely with the ideals of Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Zakat collection and distribution. The systematic collection and distribution of zakat can provide a steady source of funds to address poverty and social inequality. Targeted program zakat funds can support programs specifically targeting the most vulnerable groups, such as orphans, widows, and the elderly. So we have here Waqf. Sustainable funding. Establishing Waqf institutions can create a sustainable source of funding for community development. Waqf assets can be used for education, healthcare, and environmental projects. The long-term nature of Waqf ensures continuous benefits for the community. Community projects, Waqf can be utilized to fund community-driven projects such as the construction of mosques, schools, hospitals, and public parks. This helps in achieving SDG 11, Sustainable Cities and Communities, and SDG 16, which is peace, justice, and strong institutions. We have here a figure of how it works. We have to promote ethical business practices. Fair treatment of workers. Businesses in BARM can be encouraged to adopt ethical practices based on Islamic teachings such as fair wages, ethical treatment of workers, and environmentally sustainable operations. We have also halal industry development. Focusing on the halal industry can drive economic growth while adhering to ethical standards. This includes food production, cosmetics, and pharmaceuticals, ensuring products are ethically sourced and produced, thereby contributing to SDG 9, Industry, Innovation, and Infrastructure, and SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. Islamic finance operates on principles of risk sharing, prohibition of interest riba, and investment in socially beneficial activities. Here's how it can support SDGs in BARM. Sharia-compliant microfinance, empowering small businesses, providing microfinance based on Islamic principles can empower small businesses and entrepreneurs, especially in rural areas. Interest-free loans, Card Al-Hassan, offering interest-free loans to small enterprises can alleviate financial burdens and promote entrepreneurship. This approach helps in achieving SDG 1, no poverty, and SDG 10, which is reduced inequalities. Sukuk for development projects. Green Sukuk. Environmentally friendly projects issuing Green Sukuk can finance environmentally friendly projects such as renewable energy, sustainable agriculture, and waste management. These projects contribute directly to SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, and SDG 13, climate action. Long-term investments. Green Sukuk can attract long-term investments from ethical investors globally, ensuring a steady flow of funds for sustainable development initiatives in BARM. We have here social sukuk. Funding social projects. Sukuk can also be used to fund social projects like building schools, hospitals, and affordable housing. This supports SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 3, good health and well-being, and SDG 11, sustainable cities and community. Community benefits by channeling investments into social infrastructures. Sukuk can improve the quality of life and economic opportunities for BARM's residents, aligning with multiple SDGs. Financial inclusion. Islamic banking products enhance financial access. Developing Sharia-compliant banking products can enhance financial inclusion by providing services to the unbanked and underbanked populations, particularly women and rural communities. This initiative supports SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 10, reduce inequalities. Tailored financial services. Islamic banks can offer tailored financial services that cater to the specific needs of different segments of the population, ensuring equitable access to financial resources. Public policy. Effective public policies aligned with Islamic principles can create an enabling environment for sustainable development. Education and awareness. Islamic educational programs, curriculum integration, implementing educational programs that integrate Islamic teachings on sustainability and social justice can raise awareness and promote sustainable practices among the youth. This supports SDG 4, quality education, and SDG 13, climate action. Community outreach programs. Policies should include community outreach programs that educate the public on the importance of zakat, waqf, and ethical economic practices in achieving sustainable development goals. We have here infrastructure development. Sustainable infrastructure projects. Prioritizing investments. Public policies should prioritize sustainable infrastructures development, such as investments in renewable energy projects, efficient public transport systems, and sustainable housing. These projects contribute to SDG 9, industry, innovation, and infrastructures, and SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities. Green building standards. Implementing green building standards for new construction projects can ensure energy efficiency and environmental sustainability, supporting SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, and SDG 13, climate action. Transparent governance. Good governance practices we have ensuring transparency, ensuring transparent, accountable, and participatory governance. Structures that adhere to Islamic ethical standards can enhance trust and cooperation among communities. This is crucial for the successful implementation of development projects and for fostering social cohesion. This aligns with SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Anti-corruption measures. Implementing strict anti-corruption measures and promoting integrity in public administration can ensure that resources are used efficiently and effectively for development purposes. So here are the integrative approach. In utilizing zakat, scholarship and educational grants, allocating zakat funds to provide scholarships and grants for students from low-income families can enhance educational access and quality. Healthcare services. Zakat funds can support the establishment of healthcare centers and clinics in underprivileged areas, providing access to essential health services and reducing health inequalities. We have also issuing green sukuk, financing sustainability. To finance environmentally friendly projects, green sukuk can be issued, attracting both ethical investors and contributing to the SDGs. For instance, funds raised through green sukuk can be used to develop renewable energy projects, supporting SDG 7, affordable and clean energy, and SDG 13, climate action. We have also Islamic microfinance programs which supporting entrepreneurship. These programs can support entrepreneurship among women and youth, helping to diversify the economy and reduce unemployment. Microfinance institutions can provide Sharia-compliant financial products that enable small business growth, aligning with SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. In conclusion, by leveraging the principles of Islamic economics and finance and aligning public policies with these principles, BARM can create a robust framework for achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. This approach ensures that development is inclusive, equitable, and sustainable, benefiting all members of the community. وهذا وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
Applause to Mr. Shahid, Dr. Shahid Ki Manalundong from King Faisal Center for Islamic, Arabic and Asian Studies, Mindanao State University, Philippines. Okay, we have seen a very good and charming presentation for the speakers, and maybe any question are welcome. Okay, one, and then two. We open for 3 questions. Okay, the first, Bapak silakan.
Bismillah. Tes.
Boleh panitia membantu mikrofonnya?
Tes. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Putra Aprullah. I'm doctoral student from SHARI'AH Kuala University. Thank you very much for Mr. Hendra, Dr. Terayut, my inspired speaker, Mr. Grigat Kalabuana. This is second time we meet. And for my friend, Dr. Shahid K. Manulundong. Unfortunately, he doesn't come here. As we know, SDGs Indonesia achieved in 2024 show that 40% on the tracks, 36% limited progress, and 24% getting worse. Actually, we need strict regulation or higher regulation to enforce the company to actively involve in achieve SDGs target. In Indonesia, we have only PJOK number 51, 2017 about implementation sustainable finance that obligate all the public company, finance on and non-finance to report sustainability reporting. Based on the environmental, social, and governance issues that happening in the world today, actually we need the higher regulation or state aids that engage company to inform or to report about the sustainability or sustainability activities that they do. So I would like to know I would like to ask question to Mr. Terayut and Mr. Talabuana, why developing countries so very difficult to implement SDGs issue in the national regulation or policy? How to include or to inclusive in the political willing as the government commitment to SDGs target? Thank you very much.
Next.
Baik, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Inayah Putri Marwa. Saya jurusan Perbankan Syariah Fakultas Ekonomi dan Bisnis Islam UIN Ar-Raniry Banda Aceh. Sebelumnya Pak, izin bertanya, dari tadi kita sudah bercerita tentang Sustainable Development Goals. Nah, berbicara tentang itu sendiri, pasti kita tidak jauh-jauh dari hal industri development. Nah, dari yang saya baca, menurut informasi, Indonesia dengan negara Muslim terbesar, tapi kita hanya jadi konsumen dalam industri halal sendiri. Padahal dengan kita yang sebagai negara Muslim terbesar, seharusnya kita bisa menjadi produsen, tapi di sini yang menjadi produsen itu negara Brazil, lalu disusul dengan Australia. Menurut bapak-bapak sekalian, apa sih tantangan Indonesia itu tidak bisa menjadi negara produsen industri halal? Padahal kita tahu semua yang kita gunakan juga produk-produk halal, tapi kenapa kita cuma jadi konsumen dan kita nggak bisa jadi produsen? Seperti itu Pak. Terima kasih.
Ya, terima kasih. Kita berikan tepuk tangan ya, give applause untuk para penanya yang memberikan pertanyaan yang luar biasa. Mungkin pertanyaan pertama akan dijawab oleh kedua pemateri yang tadi sudah menyampaikan dari Bapak Putra ya. Terima kasih atas pertanyaannya. Mungkin Pak Greget bisa memulai dulu untuk.
Ya, thank you very much for the question, Pak Putra, if I'm not mistaken. And really nice to see you again. Maybe in the first one during the Bank Indonesia's event, I guess. So your question is basically about why developing countries are really difficult to achieve all the SDGs, and we are 6 years to the deadline, which is 2030. So let's start from the MDGs to SDGs, because you mentioned about the developing country. So 7 or 8 years ago, when we are still in the Millennium Development Goals, the goals is focusing, the burden is focusing on the developing countries alone. Well, Sustainable Development Goals is actually applicable to everyone, to every country. So that's why developed and developing countries are working together, for instance, in the carbon exchange, carbon trading, and so on and so forth. So basically, the developing country, maybe the issue is much more complex than developed country, but still that we require any kinds of collaboration between these, you know, South cooperation, North and South cooperation, G20, ASEAN, and so on and so forth. So I believe that the participatory development is really necessary for this kind of agenda. But then I would like to also mention about the recent policy that the government of Indonesia has already issued to renew the 27 SDGs Undang-Undang. So the government has already renewed the Undang-Undang to number 11 in 2022. explaining about sustainable finance, I believe, and also about the decade of action in accelerate all the efforts to support the contribution of SDGs. And remember that SDGs is detailed from 17 goals into 169 targets in every country, and it is transformed for each target into policy. In Indonesia, the one that is responsible for doing this is Ministry of National Development Planning. So I think that's pretty much answers the question, hopefully. And the second one, or the second one? The second one regarding the halal industry. I think I mentioned earlier during the presentation that Indonesia is no longer the largest Muslim population, everyone. We are not the largest Muslim population. Pakistan is the number one. And we are focusing on the, the downgrade, I can say, of Indonesia from becoming the top and the second. But please remember that there is a China entering this club in the 9th position. So the 9th largest Muslim population is China, actually. And China is not a Muslim country. They only have like 50 million, but they playing as not only the consumer because of the lot of people talking about halal industry, but they are playing as the producer. And I think, no matter you agree or not, the terminology of hilirisasi, the hilirisasi that was raised by one of the, the current, dual president and wakil president, I think that's also can be applied to the halal industry. So hilirisasi, when it comes to the fashion industry, think about creating a sustainable fashion instead of, buying those ultra fast fashion from the store and so on and so forth. And then also for the food and beverage, I can say about the one of the hadith from Prophet Muhammad SAW saying that ketika kita makan, kita ambil the nearest food or dishes to our arms. So, discussing from broader perspective, I think this hadith means that in terms of producing, let's just, doing the production from the nearest resource that we have, which is a local community, pasar tradisional, and so on and so forth. So that's also reducing the carbon emission. So let's think about Islamic example that already being taught by the Prophet, the Sahabat, and also all, like when we talk about the independent woman, Siti Khadijah already provide a great example of independent woman. Wife having, higher earning than the man on the, or the husband, also being taught in Islam by Zainab binti Muawiyah. So I think let's just go back to the Islamic history and Islamic teaching. There are a lot of things that we can try to replicate and duplicate in the modern ways. One of them is to support the halal industry by having a mentality as a producer, not only as a consumer. Thank you.
Okay, for the first question that you asked, Pruta asked me that why in developing country is difficult to drive the SDG. For the first reason, in my opinion, is cause the developing country doesn't have enough money to drive, to sell the technology, to sell the resource for driving. Cause SDG, every goal of SDG, I think it have to use money, to use money. Yes. Okay. For the second one, normally in developing country, almost change and not stability about the political and government. I think in my country in 2023 that we can up level to 43rd, cause the last my prime minister he live in the politics. He's the leader of politics in Thailand around 8 years. So that is they can choose and planning strategy to to success the develop about the poverty of the people. And the third one, I think, is the infrastructure about the data and information. Because if every planning, if we need to meet the target, the first thing that we have to take care about is the data. If we don't have the data before, so we cannot know we increase or decrease after we develop it. So this is very important. In my university, try to drive the SDGs of some goals, but that is fussy about the process. What should we start from? Because we don't have the data. What the KPI should we set the target? What amount? Something like that. So this is the third one. Is very important, but I think is not use much more technology. We can collect by themselves if we need to improve something. So for the solution, I think we have to use the NGO, non-government organization, to drive about this. Because SDG is not the goal for the rich people, I think. Because SDG is from the organization that care about the earth, care about the people. So some rich people may don't care about this, and they may not get the useful about this goal. So we need to use a non-government organization. And for the second one of solution, we need to develop the education. We have to learn about the impact of the environment, of the relationship about the people in the world, what happened in the future if we still do the same in the present. We have to teach and get the knowledge in their mind. So the people who young in the present will drive this agenda in the future. Okay, this is my opinion. Thank you.
Oke, terima kasih. Kita berikan aplaus ya pada kedua pemateri. Tadi Mas Gagat mengatakan bahwa sebenarnya peluangnya cukup besar. Mungkin secara angka memang turun beberapa, tetapi secara kualitas justru naik gitu ya. Jadi yang capaian SDGs tadi. Dan menjawab pertanyaan penanya kedua, jadi banyak hal yang sudah dilakukan, terutama terkait dengan upaya pemerintah juga untuk membuat kesadaran kepada pendekatan industri halal ini juga makin meningkat gitu. Tadi direspon pertanyaannya, tadi penanya mengatakan kenapa kesadaran itu justru terlambat muncul di Indonesia gitu ya. Mungkin jawabannya salah satunya adalah karena kita udah merasa yang paling halal gitu, jadi lupa untuk menceklis indikator halalnya di setiap aktivitas kita, terutama makanan. Kemudian tadi ada yang terkait dengan juga berbagai macam sektor di industri halal gitu ya. Ada kaitannya dengan jawaban yang kedua dari Dr. Tirayut, mengatakan merespon pertanyaan Pak Putra tadi, bahwa di beberapa negara pun juga mengalami kesulitan yang sama. Mungkin beliau bilang the very important thing is money ya, ada uang untuk mensupport kegiatan itu gitu. Tetapi beliau mengatakan juga mengajak anak muda yang menjadi representatif produktif sekarang untuk juga bisa mengambil meningkatkan kepedulian mereka terkait dengan responsibility, kalau dia sampaikan tadi di SDGs nomor 1, 8 dan 12. SDGs number 1, X and 12 ya. Iya, 1, 8, and 12 ya. Jadi 1, 8, dan 12. Kalau saya tidak salah tadi terkait dengan bagaimana moderation, kemudian responsibility dan juga resilient gitu. Dan dia mengatakan juga sekarang banyak respon yang muncul juga dari non-government organization atau kalau di Indonesia itu NGO ya. Iya, NGO, private sector dan juga akademia. Jadi sebenarnya semuanya harus memiliki respon yang sama agar bisa mewujudkan tujuan tersebut. Dan Dr. Terayut juga mengatakan kalau di Thailand di negerinya pemerintah sudah mulai mengkampanyekan itu, bukan mulai ya, sudah mengkampanyekan itu terus-menerus tentang kepedulian masyarakat melalui dunia pendidikan, terutama terhadap poin-poin penting dari SDGs. Itu ya lebih kurang ya. Baik, sepertinya saya melihat wajah yang juga pengen bertanya lagi, atau sebaliknya. Oh iya, silakan. Oke, yang pertama, silakan sebutkan nama, bertanya dan tujuan pertanyaannya kepada narasumber yang mana. Silakan.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Rama Herdiansyah, saya dari UIN Ar-Raniry Banda Aceh pada prodi Ekonomi Syariah. Saya ingin bertanya kepada Pak Greget Kalabuana mengenai emisi gas karbon dioksida yang sempat disinggung pada slide kedua tadi. Jadi Pak, seperti yang kita tahu setiap manusia itu selalu menciptakan emisi karbon dioksida seperti pembakaran sampah, transportasi, limbah industri dan lain-lain. Sedangkan yang saya tahu nih Pak, pepohonan yang memang sumber penyerap karbon dioksida yang alaminya ini itu sudah banyak ditebang dan jarang atau bahkan gak ada sama sekali dilakukan reboisasi. Jadi adakah solusi dari Bapak mengenai cara mengatasi atau cara mencegah emisi gas karbon dioksida ini semakin berkembang di kelompok masyarakat menengah ke bawah? Terima kasih Pak.
Ya, masih ada satu lagi? Masih ada? Pertanyaan kedua? Oke, nggak ada ya? Oke, Mr. Greget?
Menarik, terima kasih untuk, tadi saya dengarnya cuma Syah terakhir namanya ya. Terima kasih banyak atas pertanyaannya, saya boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia ya untuk ini. Dan ini sebenarnya bisa menjadi satu ide untuk penelitian, karena terakhir mungkin seminggu 2 minggu yang lalu ada satu riset dari luar negeri yang keluar yang menyebutkan bahwa sebenarnya pohon itu tidak sebegitu besar yang kita perkirakan dalam menyerap emisi karbon. Nah, itulah yang kemudian membuat orang-orang berpikir ternyata kita tidak bisa menggantungkan diri terkait isu karbon ini kepada pohon-pohon gitu. Nah, artinya sebenarnya sama dengan pengelolaan sampah. Sampah itu dalam circular economy, tadi kalau nggak salah dari pembicara dari Thailand juga menyebutkan tentang circular economy, sebenarnya yang menjadi penekanan itu adalah bagaimana supaya tidak bertambah gitu. Jadi tidak bertambah. Memang kita nggak akan bisa, namanya manusia, kita nggak akan bisa lepas dari yang namanya emisi karbon. Kita bernafas saja itu ngeluarin karbon, ya kan? Kemudian segala bentuk produksi, ekonomi, distribusi semuanya ada karbonnya. Sama juga sampah. Nah, artinya bagaimana supaya tidak bertambah? Mungkin kalau kita menggunakan pendekatan sampah, ekonomi sirkuler, apa yang kita gunakan tuh selalu supaya berputar. Karena ini konteksnya agama Islam, kita bisa mencontoh perilaku Rasulullah SAW dari Ustadz Amin Nur Bait menyebutkan bahwa beliau ketika menggunakan barang itu sampai rusak gitu, sehingga tidak ada nilai yang hilang gitu. Artinya ketika sampai rusak berarti kan tidak menjadi limbah, dia tidak bisa lagi digunakan, nilai fungsinya, nilai gunanya tidak hilang begitu. Sama juga ketika kita mengeluarkan emisi karbon dari berbagai aktivitas tadi, bagaimana caranya supaya bisa kita kurangi gitu. Keluar tetap keluar. Bahkan beberapa kali kalau diskusi dengan teman yang dia peduli terhadap isu-isu lingkungan, kadang bilang, tadi kan kamu naik ini kan, naik apa, Lion, naik Garuda tuh di offset tuh dengan nanam pohon atau dengan nanam ini dengan itu begitu. Jadi ada alternatif-alternatif yang bisa kita lakukan yang mungkin memang tidak menyelesaikan permasalahan menyerap karbon tapi mengurangi karbon yang kita hasilkan begitu, termasuk dengan mengelola sampah tadi. Sama satu lagi mungkin saya boleh menambahkan ya bahwa jangan terlalu fokus pada pencapaian SDGs. Tidak akan tercapai tahun 2030 gitu, karena sudah ada penelitian tadi disebutkan bahwa kita membutuhkan 30 tahun ketambahan pandemi kemarin. Itu kan makanya tadi Pak Putra menyampaikan di awal ada penurunan-penurunan itu karena yang menurun itu bukan cuma Indonesia tapi yang lain juga gitu. Karena pandemi. Tapi peringkat Indonesia itu naik. Kalau untuk mengejar Thailand memang agak susah karena di sana mungkin ada beberapa indikator yang bisa diterapkan, termasuk indikator nomor 5, gender equality. Di tempat kita mungkin ada beberapa gesekan gitu untuk menerapkan itu. Nah, sebenarnya kalau kita memahami SDGs ini sebagai maqasid al-syari'ah gitu ya, 5 foundational goals of Islam. Let's focus on the 5 foundational goals of Islam. We doing everything that Islam teach us. Nanti automatically we achieving the SDGs. No matter what, no matter when, gitu. Jadi focusing on the maqasid al-syari'ah itu aja, gitu. Karena pada prinsipnya maqasid al-syari'ah tuh di sini, gitu ya, umbrellanya. SDGs tuh di bawah ini, gitu. Jadi kita kejar tuh atasnya, bagaimana protection of life, protection of intellectuality, protection of wealth, protection of religion, protection of generation atau keturunan. Gitu. Jadi fokusnya itu ke sana. Gitu. Jadi jangan terlalu pusing dengan SDGs, nggak akan tercapai, nggak akan kayaknya. Gitu, tinggal 6 tahun lagi kan.
Baik, masih ada lagi pertanyaan? Any question? Tidak ada ya? Baik. Ya, sebelum kita close mungkin ada closing statement dulu ya. Oke, kalau tidak ada, baik mungkin cukup ya untuk presentasi sore ini. Dan kita sudah banyak sekali mendapatkan informasi yang luar biasa, terutama terkait dengan implementing about the SDGs ya, in Indonesia, in Thailand, ya, especially from Dr. Terayut about Thailand and Sustainable Development Goals Agenda, challenge and prospect ya. Dan kita juga mendapatkan tadi informasi dari Filipina tentang bagaimana the role of Islamic economic finance and public policy, especially in SDGs responsibility. And juga dari Mr. Greget Kalabuana ya, yang berbicara banyak tadi tentang Islamic finance dan juga SDGs. Dan kita berikan aplaus untuk mereka berdua dan bertiga dengan yang disampaikan lewat recording tadi. Terima kasih untuk kedua pemateri dan terima kasih juga untuk para responden tadi, para penanya yang sudah memberikan pertanyaan yang luar biasa. Dan semoga ini bisa menjadi the new of knowledge for us about sustainability development goals, terutama di butiran-butiran yang tadi rasanya belum tercapai. Tapi kalau Pak Greget bilang tadi, jangan fokus pada SDGs-nya, tapi lakukan terus mungkin payungnya yang lebih tinggi, terutama terkait dengan maqasid syariahnya. Nanti SDGs-nya akan sitting sendiri ya di poinnya masing-masing. Kita berikan aplaus sekali lagi. Dan terima kasih, kami tutup dengan ucapan Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
And that concludes the second session of the third ICOSOC International Conference. We would like to extend our gratitude to the distinguished moderator who has led the discussions and the speakers for their insight and share of knowledge. For the moderators and speakers, we kindly ask you to take place in front of the stage to receive a token of appreciation from the chairman of the third ICOSOC, Dr. Nilam Sari MA. stand up on your seat and also participants. Kepada seluruh hadirin, kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama. Dimohon untuk berdiri di tempatnya masing-masing. Kepada seluruh hadirin, dimohon untuk berdiri di tempatnya masing-masing. Kita akan melakukan sesi foto bersama. Senyum semuanya, 1, 2, 3. Oke, sekali lagi, 1, 2, 3. Boleh free pose semuanya, gaya bebas. 1, 2, 3. Thank you for your cooperation. You may now be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of the first day of the 3rd International Conference on Sharia-Oriented Public Policy in Islamic Economy